What are your thoughts on this passage from Gary Taubes, the author of The Case for Keto? When I started reporting on this subject as a journalist 20 years ago, virtually no meaningful research had been published to test the claims of the diet book doctors, most famously Robert Atkins, who advocated this way of eating. Since then, carbohydrate restricted diets, keto or otherwise, may have become the most tested diets in history. The website, clinicaltrials.gov, reports more than 100 clinical trials of ketogenic diets in progress and nearly 90 completed. The findings are consistent. Ketogenic eating is safe and effective at controlling both weight and blood sugar. Pick a disease, from Alzheimer's and anxiety disorders to traumatic brain injury and tumors. And researchers somewhere are probably testing whether eating a ketogenic diet improves its prognosis. In 2019, the American Diabetes Association concluded that low carbohydrate and very low carbohydrate diets, that is, keto, were the only dietary therapies that consistently resulted in beneficial outcomes for adults with diabetes or prediabetes. In 2017, more than 100 Canadian physicians co-signed a letter to the Huffington Post declaring that they personally follow keto-like regimens and now counsel their patients to do so too. What we see in our clinics, these physicians wrote, is that blood sugar values go down, blood pressure drops, chronic pain decreases or disappears, lipid profiles improve, inflammatory markers improve, energy increases, weight decreases, sleep is improved, IBS or irritable bowel syndrome symptoms are lessened, etc. Medication is adjusted downward or even eliminated, which reduces the side effects for patients and the costs to society. The results we achieve with our patients are impressive and durable. So again, what are your thoughts on that passage from Gary Taubes?
Well, I mean, the first comment regarding all the literature, I'll just have to say I'm not familiar with the literature. I'll have to look that up. When I looked at the data on keto diets, I've not seen anything showing reversing of diabetes or reduction of hemoglobin A1C, or reduction of IL-16, lipoprotein(a), or IL-6 is what we showed. I just haven't seen the data. And when we did our search in terms of looking at what diets have shown a reduction of hemoglobin A1C in 4 weeks, we didn't see a keto diet. When we looked for what diets have shown a reduction in lipoprotein(a) prior to our publication, we didn't see the keto diet. And so when we look for these things, we didn't see the keto diet in these parameters. So I'll do another search, but our publications have been out for nearly 2 years now. And, prior to that, we had not seen keto diet publications showing these changes. The second part to that regarding doctors' remarks in terms of what they're seeing in their patients, I'm not going to doubt that the doctors are seeing those things. What I'll say is this: you have to watch this over time and see how the patients do over time. And we see our patients chronically get better over time. We have angiographic data of coronary artery disease improving, and lots of other data of our patients getting better and medications being reduced. And I've just not seen those publications with the keto diet. So until I see the publications, and maybe Mr. Taubes can, email us some articles, manuscripts, then, I'd be glad to look at them and compare them to what we've done.
What are your thoughts on this next passage from Gary Taubes, author of The Case for Keto? No meaningful experimental evidence, no clinical trials exists to support the contention that we would live longer, healthier lives by eating mostly plants rather than animal-sourced foods.
Well, so if you use that term, no meaningful clinical trials, and that's typically what they do in big industry, because they design these, prospective trials, and, they cost a lot of money. And so, yeah, you can make the argument that no one has gotten a large prospective trial using plant-based diet. There's a lot of observational data, the China study data, and there's other observational data. But from a prospective double-blinded study, we haven't done that. I don't think that's a necessary thing to do. You can look at the evidence from the blue zones and other things where people that eat mostly a plant-rich diet, it contributes to their longevity. Now, granted, there are other factors, being outdoors, lower stress life. So there are many other factors. It's a multidimensional factor when you talk about longevity. So it's not just what you eat. If you're eating the perfect diet, but if you're leading a stressful life and you're not sleeping and so on and so forth, many of those things will catch up with you as well. So making that argument becomes a very complex argument because there are many factors that lead into longevity. And the diet is just one of those things. So that's correct. We haven't done a large prospective study. But what I can say is that if in the short run, you have, worsening blood pressure, worsening cholesterol, worsening other parameters with a keto diet compared to a plant-based diet, which is my experience, then it's likely that the plant-based diet is going to contribute to greater longevity compared to the keto diet. And I've had many individuals on a keto diet who come to me because their cholesterol is elevated. I had a patient, we had to put a stent in his proximal LAD. He had been on a keto diet. He had coronary disease on a keto diet. And he was on lots of supplements. And we had to stent his proximal LAD as a result of the keto diet. And we got him off that and put him on a plant-based diet. So the point is that you can have this, theoretical conjecture that, hey, there's no long-term prospective studies. But, a long-term prospective study doesn't give you all the answers. Two, nutrition is one of many components to longevity. So even if you did a long-term prospective study, you probably would show some longevity, but there'd be other factors that you'd have to control for. And three, in the short run, the keto diet, in my experience, is inferior to the plant-based diet. So it's unlikely that that's going to have a greater contribution to longevity than a plant-based diet.
How does a man protect against prostate problems?
Well, Dean Ornish showed that consuming a plant-based diet had a reversal effect on individuals with early prostate cancer, in which case they were in the waiting stage. And when they went on a plant-based diet, they showed that you had a reduction in the PSA, and they actually showed some biochemical changes in the telomere lengthening. So that's one thing a plant-based diet can contribute to. Cancer, however, is a much more complex animal. So I think optimal nutrition is one, but there are other factors. I mean, we are we're faced with, increasing MF. We're around cell phones and computers all the time. There's a lack of outdoor exposure. So, being outdoors, the vitamin D is one of probably many benefits of being outdoors. So, outdoor contact, being in contact with the earth, grounding and earthing, those types of things, proper sleep. So really protecting against prostate problems, quote unquote, and prostate cancer being the key, one of those problems is going to be a multifactorial, event where it's going to be optimal nutrition, which is a minimally processed plant-based diet, it's an antioxidant-rich diet. But the other aspects of the lifestyle is going to be will be important too, especially when you're talking about not only prostate issues, but other forms of cancer. For example, what gets into your water? There are many municipalities that has, poor filtering system. And I'm not just talking about, Flint, Michigan, and other parts of the country where, here in Houston, we found that, there's a lot of radiation in the water and various other toxins that we have to filter out at the home level. So there are many other factors that you have to look at that, chemicals and toxins get into our system, and we have to be vigilant about being aware of those things and guarding against it.